Shabbat Shalom. I'm Cantor David Proser from Kempsville Conservative Synagogue, Kehillat Bet HaMidrash in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And this is our Torah portion commentary for the Shabbat of Saturday, January 23rd, 2021, corresponding to the 10th day of the Hebrew month of Shevat in the year 5781. We thank Rabbi Joseph Proser, Rabbi Adam Rosenbaum, Rabbi Michael Gold, Rabbi Matthew Berkowitz, and the United Synagogue Torah Spark series for their various teachings and publications on this week's Parsha. This Shabbat, January 23rd, we read the Parsha of Bo in the book of Exodus, the book of Shemot. It begins on page 374 of the Eitz Chaim Chumash and page 248 of the Hertz. We ended last week's Parsha with Pharaoh continuing to defy God by refusing to free the Israelite slaves, even after 7 plagues, allowing God's promised punishments to continue in full force. This week, to the 7 plagues that have already been inflicted upon Pharaoh's Egypt, 3 more are added, culminating in the great redemption of the Israelites from Egypt. The 8th plague brings an infestation of locusts of unprecedented intensity. This is an astounding claim, as even a typical swarm, per the JPS commentary, can include as many as 50 million such insects per square kilometer, which in a single night can consume as much as 100,000 tons of vegetation. It's little wonder that Pharaoh refers to the locusts as this death. Wondrous indeed is the statement that not a single locust remained in Egypt at the plague's divinely ordained conclusion. The next plague is 3 days of palpable darkness. The darkness affected only the Egyptians, while all the Israelites enjoyed light in all their dwellings. After his usual capitulation, Pharaoh agrees to let the Israelites go and worship. But in a new escalation of hostility, Moshe demands that Pharaoh himself provide the Israelites with sacrificial animals when they leave. Predictably, Pharaoh demurs when the plague ceases. His hardened heart sets the stage for the 10th and most devastating plague, the death of all Egyptian firstborn, regardless of social status. Firstborn livestock are also to die. Before the final plague, Parshat Bo establishes the Israelite calendar with the first month in the spring when Passover is celebrated. The first month is today known as Nisan, but in biblical terms it was known simply as Aviv, meaning spring. The text reads, "This month will be the first of months to you." This is the very first commandment given to the new fledgling nation of Israel. Of all the 613 mitzvot in the Torah, why was this the very first? Why is the making of a calendar so important? Ovadia ben Yaakov Sforno, the 16th century Italian commentator on Torah, writes, "From this point on, the coming months will be your months, to do with them as you wish, according to your desires, in contrast to the many days of your enslavement, when your days were not really your days. For those days were devoted to the work of others according to their will. Therefore, this is the first month of the year for you. From this very point begins your new reality of free choice." In just a few remarkable sentences, Sforno distills the importance of the first commandment, the importance of identity, time, and freedom. Detailed instructions for the night of deliverance, as well as the laws of Passover, are given. The festival will take place in the first month of the year, on the 14th of the month, when the moon is full. Each family shall slaughter a lamb and place the blood on the doorposts of the house. 2 or more families can share a lamb. There must be no leftovers. The lamb is to be roasted and eaten with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. The Israelites are to stay fully dressed and keep their shoes on as they eat, so that they will be prepared to leave. The children of Israel shall keep the Passover throughout their generations for 7 days. No unleavened bread may be eaten or even kept anywhere in the house. The 1st and 7th days are full festivals when no working may be done. The centrality of these rites is reflected in the chapter's 7-fold repetition of the Hebrew verb root shin mem resh, sh ma ra sounds, like in the word shomer, meaning to guard or keep or observe. Much of our own Passover observances, such as matzah and the prohibition of leaven, maror, the bitter herbs, the family meal, the Seder, the commemoration of the Exodus, the timing and the structure of the festival, finds its origins in these verses. The repeated injunction to explain the meaning of Passover to our children, the source of the Midrash about the 4 sons familiar from the Passover Haggadah, is also found in this parsha. The Israelites mark their doorposts with blood in anticipation of the 10th plague, which is visited upon every Egyptian household at midnight, sparing the Hebrew homes. There is no home without someone dead, from the firstborn of Pharaoh to the firstborn of the mere maidservant and the firstborn of cattle. Terrified and beaten, the Egyptians and Pharaoh himself finally urge their slaves to depart. The Israelites leave with haste, as well as with Egyptian wealth, gold, silver, and clothing. The despoiling of their former oppressors is a telling sign of Egypt's utter and complete defeat. Accompanied by a mixed multitude of hangers-on, some 600,000 Israelite men and their families begin the Exodus, marking the end of 430 years of enslavement. The first leg of the journey to freedom takes them from Ramses to Sukkot. The Parsha concludes with a variety of rituals marking the sacred status of firstborn sons as well as firstborn livestock, a commemoration of the 10th plague, as too in recognition of the people Israel's status as God's firstborn son. The haftarah for this week is from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 46, verses 13 to 28, beginning on page 395 of the Eitz Chaim Chumash and page 263 of the Hertz. Like the previous haftarah, this is also a prophecy against Egypt. Jeremiah was the older contemporary of Isaiah, and during the last days of the Jewish state, both of them, one in Jerusalem and the other in Babylonia, denounced the sin and folly of seeking help from Egypt. According to Dr. Hertz, this is one of the last prophecies of Jeremiah and foretells the humiliating defeat of Pharaoh and the total collapse of Egypt before the power of Babylon. He concludes his prophecy with words of comfort. But fear not thou, O Jacob my servant, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall again be quiet and at ease, and none shall make him afraid. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, hit the bell below for notifications when we post new content, and feel free to leave comments. Thank you again for watching. Shabbat Shalom.